Hi everyone, it's the Four Gun Guy, and today I'm going to do a quick review on an optic that was sent to me by Discovery Optics. They've seen some of my videos, they liked what they saw, and they wanted me to review this with them. And this is going to be the ED-PRS 5-25 by 56 first focal plane rifle scope. So this is Discovery Optics' kind of venture into PRS, if you will. So what I thought we would do today is let's talk about the very first thing that's important to me in a scope, at least at the very basic levels, and that's the reticle. So I want to just briefly go over the reticle. I want to do an unboxing and then talk about some of the features of this scope. It is mounted on my Bergara 6.5 Creedmoor rifle, and the reason I mounted it on this rifle is because I wanted to get some recoil behind the scope out at the range. And speaking of that, we're going to go into the backyard, and if you've seen my other scope videos, you see that I have a bunch of telephone poles back there at varying distances. So we're going to see how this scope looks through those distances, and then I'm going to take it to the range. We're going to send some rounds down range with this scope on target so you can see what this might look like in a PRS environment, and then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Before we talk about the reticle, there's something I didn't say in my intro, and that was when Discovery Optics asked me to do this review, I did tell them, I said, I will be happy to do the review. I appreciate you reaching out to me, but it will be an honest review. So if I see some things that might need improvement, I'm going to give you that feedback, and I'm going to give my viewers that feedback as well. So I just wanted you all to know that as this scope was given to me by Discovery Optics, I'm going to be honest about what I see and just how the scope operates. So with that said, let's get to that first part, and that is the reticle. So the reticle on this thing, I'm going to put it up here. I have to say, I really like the reticle. Now this kind of reminds me of the EBR-7C reticle that I love in my Razor Gen 3. And that reticle is in the Strike Eagle, and I think it's in the Viper as well. But they have done a great job with this reticle. If you've seen my other videos on scopes, you'll know that the reticle plays an important part with me. And one of the biggest gripes I have about reticles is the lack of a 1/2 mil mark on the windage. So if you look at the windage line here, you'll see that there is indeed a 1/2 mil mark on both the right and the left side of the center dot. And I just really like that. This is a 2/10 indicator across all of the axis, the vertical or elevation axis and the windage axis. I do like the fact that the numbering doesn't start until 2. I know in some videos I've said, I kind of like the numbering starting at 1. I've given that some thought, and even in some of the other scopes that I run, it doesn't start at 1. And that's so it's clearer around the target area. You don't have a bunch of stuff cluttering that. So I like that they did that. The one thing that I would say about this reticle that I wish Discovery had done is on the 1 mil elevation. In other words, below the dot, you see the 1 mil hash mark there. I really wish they had taken that out into the Christmas tree more and taken that out to about the 1 mil mark. So if you know what I'm saying, at that 1 mil mark on the elevation, I wish there was 1 mil going over left and right. Other than that though, I think this is a great reticle and I'm very happy with it. So there's the reticle discussion. If you look at some of my other videos when I compare multiple scopes, you'll see why that's really important to me. And by the way, this scope is going to go into another video I'm doing on getting into the PRS, looking at the type of optics you might want to start with and end with or not. So this is going to be one of the scopes in that video. Now, let's talk about the unboxing and features of this scope. let's look at what's in the box. Now I'm just going to kind of hold this thing up and show it to you, and then we'll take this stuff out. So they give you a chamois. They give you the 1, 2, 3 sunshades here. They give you a set of scope rings, by the way, and we're going to see how good these are. Now, I've read in some reviews that the scope rings are high, but I have to tell you, I've gone to high scope rings. I'm going to tell you why I did that as well. They give you a spur-like scope leveling kit. That's pretty nice, because that spur scope leveling kit has really helped me in a few mountings. And then they give you this. This is kind of like the, was this Vortex, I think? Or someone has a pen like this that I've used before. And this thing's really nice when you're out in the field. You want to clean your lens off. Really nice little pen. And then, of course, you get the scope itself. This thing is packaged really nicely. The scope comes in plastic, but I just took it off. But this is really good foam. And also in here you get the throw lever, which is right here in the box that you can attach to this, and I'll put that on. So let's kind of pause here. Let's transition into the functionality and the features now. Well, before we get to the features really quickly, let's go over some of the specifications of the scope. So if I start with the magnification, again, 5 to 25X, it is a first focal plane scope. Field of view is really good on this. I've already looked through it in the backyard and actually out at the range. And I really do like the field of view here. It's very easy on the eye. The click values, again, are 1/10 of a mil for everything. The maximum elevation, plus or minus 18. The maximum windage, plus or minus 8.7. And then again, I haven't found this to be an issue on the elevation, right? So if I come here, I've got one, I've got actually two, there's 20. Wow, I've got 25.5 mils of elevation, and this is zeroed, so it has been zeroed. So actually that's really good if you wanted to go out farther with it. Again, 56 millimeter objective with a 34 millimeter tube, so it's really a nice standard tube. I like that because it's got a lot of, if you want to run this on some of the other mounts that are out there, 34 millimeters pretty much a standard now. It is illuminated, length, weight, shockproof, waterproof, fog-proof, and nitrogen filled. It's got really good eye relief on it. It's very easy. It was very easy for me to just get down on the cheek pad and really adjust quickly to the eye relief. Now, of course, when you get up to 25 power with any scope, you're going to have to make a little bit of adjustment. But at the 18 to 20 power or 15 to 20 power that I generally shoot at for competition, it was fine. So let's get into the features now. You saw in the unboxing, one of the interesting things were the number of sunshades this comes with. But I think if I had those all mounted on here, which I didn't do, but I believe it would come out to about here. That conceivably could help you with mirage mitigation from the heat coming off your barrel. I shot a match yesterday in June here in Texas, and I can tell you it was hot. I used my barrel cooler a lot. So something like that could help you with that. So, but I do like the fact that it comes with those sunshades. Number two, I love the torque values on the scope rings. I wish every scope ring manufacturer would do this. That way we're all not on the web looking up things trying to figure out what the torque values are. So I think that was very innovative for them to do that. It comes with that scope leveling kit, which is more like a spur kind of scope leveling kit, which is really, really nice. Really good illumination. I think we're going to see this when I take it out into the backyard. I'm going to try to turn on the illumination and show that to you. I will tell you though, I've already had this out there and out at the range, and the illumination is daylight bright. So when I'm out at the range, I don't think I did it out there, and I apologize, but I'm trying to cut down the time. I was able to see on the highest level really, really easily. And then really just all the tactile and features of the turrets, the parallax, everything here. And I'm going to try to just bring this up. The rifle's unloaded. It has a safety flag in it. But, you know, the enlarged parallax wheel here is awesome. I love that. Everything is very tactile. It's grippy. You can grab it. So as we come back here, it's got the illumination settings. It's got the parallax wheel. It's got the elevation turrets. Now, these do not lock, which again, I don't really care about because a lot of people now are disabling the locking feature on their turrets. They want to just be able to run them as they want to run them. So let's hear. Let's just put this right here. Very nice. It does have a zero stop, which is again really, really nice. It's got a multi-level indicator on the turret. So as I rotate around and come up, right here back to zero, I can see an indicator here on the turret that tells me what rotation I'm on, which is very important, especially if you're going to get something for rim fire. Pretty standard stuff, but I think number one, these larger turrets really make a difference, They're very tactile and they move very well. The only thing that I would say is, again, some feedback for discovery is I understood how to adjust the zero, right? You're going to mount the scope, take the rifle out, and then you're going to zero the scope, right? There aren't any instructions on how to do that. And I would recommend to Discovery that please put some instructions in the box on how to zero your turret. It's very easy to do. Once you get this screw off the top and you take this top off, you're going to look at it and go, okay, I get it. I know what to do. It's very much like a Razor Gen 2 or a scope like that. And the side turret's even easier. It's just got some screws here that you just loosen up and then adjust it and set it. So with all that said, very, very impressed with the features, very impressed with the build quality. This is not a Tinker Toy scope. I can tell you that right now. And I own Zero Compromise. I own 2 Razor Gen 3s. The Track Toric, I've done a review on that one. The build quality on this is very good. So with that said, let's go ahead and get some views in the backyard, and then we'll move out to the range. But let's talk about tracking real quickly. So I'm going to put a video up here, and it's going to be kind of a crappy video, but I did want you to know that I did take it out. When I zeroed the scope, I ran a tracking test on it. So it tracked very, very well. I had no issues with it. I did do the little twisty test on the turrets to kind of run those through. I don't know if that's going to be on that video because I actually did a lot more than the video that's running here on the tracking test. But the tracking test came out very well, so I wanted you to know that as well.
Okay, we're going to start zoomed all the way out, and this telephone pole in front of me is, I believe, right at 75 yards. So that's 75 yards. And I'm not sure if this trigger cam's going to pick this up, the clarity here, but I'm telling you, this is pretty darn impressive, this glass. Let me come in a little bit. In fact, I'm going to come in all the way, and I'm going to adjust the parallax, and I want you to see the clarity of this glass. I'm just gonna get this here and then kind of let go. And now that's 75 yards, right? Big whoop-de-doo. So let's zoom out. Let's go to, I know that one there is about 150, or this one is about 150. And I don't think I have the focus set properly because I'm not sure how clear this reticle is, but wow. Again, I'm going to let go and just look at that. Guys, I was just out here with my Zico. I'm not saying this is that good, but I'm here to tell you this ED glass is pretty impressive to me. That pole right there is about 225 yards. And now let's go out even further. So let's come to, I think I want to say this one's 450 to 500. Let's bring that in. And this is, that zoomed all the way in. So that's full power, full zoom. Let's get it right there. And now I'm going to let go. And you can look at that clarity. Pretty good. Let's go to the next one down there is 550. And that's this one. This is full power. I'm going to turn the reticle on here. This is 6. So this is full power in daylight. Doesn't really make that big of a difference, to be honest with you. But you can see it. I'm going to turn it back off. This is pretty unbelievable. Let me zoom out now. So let's zoom out to about, this is where I would normally probably shoot PRS. And again, I don't think I've got the reticle focused, the diopter focused properly. But that's that. Still on this pole here. And if I were to adjust the parallax, that's pretty darn clear. Now, one thing I want to do is let's look at the fact that if I adjust the parallax for the 750 and I come to the 650, that's still a good parallax. If I come to the 500, that's still good parallax. What I'm trying to say here is with some of these scopes, like with the Gen 3, Vortex Razor Gen 3, I was having to adjust my parallax every 100 yards. Every time I'd move 100 yards, I'd have to mess with my parallax. And I'm not having to do that with this scope. So, let's get out to the range now and see how this looks on real targets.
So guys, I'm here at the range. I just shot a match today, by the way. So I'm all sweaty and everything. I did pretty good. I don't know what, they haven't posted the scores yet, but I felt really good about it. So look, I've got the trigger cam set up. Let's send some rounds down here and let's see what this looks like. I have to tell you, I'm going to apologize up front because I'm not sure the trigger cam is really going to do this thing justice. So now I'll come down and let's just see if we can kind of plink this guy here. I think I'm good. Don't know where that went. Let me see. So used to free recoiling my now that zoomed all the way in, so let me come out. Let me come out a little bit. I don't know if you can see how clear this is. I guess I'll do this. Let's see. There's a little wind out there. No, I think that might have been a little high. And this rifle is so light, I can't even see where I'm missing. So let's see. Let's try it again. That was definitely high, right? I saw that one. Let's do another one. And let's see if we can come here. Impact. There we go. So there you go. Now I'm running this at, looks to me like it's about 20 power. So let's come out and just look at some of these other targets out here. There's the 800. There's 850. Let me kind of come on in and see. I'm adjusting the parallax now. I'm telling you what, guys, I am impressed with a $400 scope with this kind of glass. Yeah, I mean, I really am. I'm going to zoom out. Let's zoom out and see what this is looking like, kind of zoomed out to, I want to say that's probably 12 power right there. And this just looks really, really good. Now that's a little too far out for me. I'm generally right about here. So let's see here. I think I've got a, There's a 650 rack. Let's see what we can do on this 650. Again, you got to realize this is a very light gun. I'm going to give it about maybe 7/10. Impact, there you go. So there's an impact on that. And I think that's good. Look, we got 5 shots down the tube. I think we've got some good looks through this scope. I am telling you, the trigger cam does not even do this justice. This thing really looks good. And I'm going to zoom all the way in here. I can see the impacts. In fact, let me just stabilize here. I can see the impacts on that plate. Well, I want to first thank Discovery Optics for sending me this really nice rifle scope. I mean, this thing is awesome. For $400, I don't think you can beat it. I think it compares very favorably with some higher end optics. I don't know if I said this before, but when I was at the 22 range and asked some guys to look through this optic, they compared it with their Strike Eagle from Vortex. Now the Strike Eagle is a $800 optic retail. So, you know, that's a pretty high praise for something like this to be compared with a Strike Eagle. And look, all the features we went over on this, I love the turrets. They're very tactile. This large parallax wheel is awesome. It comes with this scope mount that, okay, you've just seen me run some 6.5 through this, and I have to tell you, you can't see it here, but I've got about 18 cases here. I've got a whole nother box that I ran through this with this scope on it, but I forgot to turn that off, by the way. The trigger cam was so bad I couldn't use that footage because I just forgot to focus it. But I've run probably 50 rounds through this thing with the scope mounted with these rings. It hasn't moved, it hasn't done anything. So I think it's good. Now let's talk about who this is for. If I had a son or daughter who was getting into the sport, or even you getting into the sport, and you're just not sure, you know, am I really gonna like this stuff? I'm not gonna reload. I'm gonna just buy off the shelf ammo. I'm gonna buy a production rifle like this Bergara. And by the way, I'm gonna do a video on that coming up real soon, getting into PRS. But something like this setup here, I'd start with something like this, because look, if you don't like shooting, then you're not into it for that much money, and you've got a really good optic, in my opinion. If I was plinking, if I was varmint hunting, anything like that, I think this is a great optic. You saw the zoom power of it. You saw the clarity of it. I hope this video is going to come out good. I love the reticle, love it. And everything else about the scope I really like. And guys, I promise you, this is not because they gave the scope to me to review. I promise you it's not for that. We talked about some of the things that I wish they had, like on the reticle, all right? I wish the 1 mil was on the vertical or elevation. I wish it had a little tree there for that. But other than that, I think it's a really good deal. So, thank you for Discovery Optics for sending this to me. I really do appreciate it. And again, stay tuned for some more stuff coming up. I've got some stage videos coming up. I promise that I do. And yeah, until next time, shoot straight.